Hello, this is Craig Campbell from Advanced Stucco Inspection. We're in Malvern, Pennsylvania today to perform a forensic stucco failure investigation. This home was built in 2005 by a builder with 30 to 40 years of experience. Approximately 1 year ago today, the stucco was removed and replaced by a local general contractor who is also a licensed architect. Now the stucco is failing again less than 1 year after it was removed and replaced. Let's get started. The stucco has been removed from the right elevation, and we have used moisture meters to determine what building materials are wet. We've marked with orange paint the sheathing that needs to be removed. The wall cavities will be inspected for mold damage and cleaned where necessary. As previously mentioned, we used Delmhurst moisture meters for the moisture mapping. We're looking for readings within a certain range to determine the amount of damage. If moisture does get behind the building papers, it can impact the structural integrity of framing members, and it can create ideal conditions for microbial growth. And that's exactly what happened here. Here's one of the problems that we uncovered during our investigation. The architect had a beautiful sealant joint installed around the window, but unfortunately for this homeowner, it was incorrect in that there should be no sealant at the top of the window. Placing sealant at the top of the window that you can see as we zoom in prevents the drainage that would occur naturally via the head flashing. On the left elevation, we discovered that the majority of OSB sheathing had been replaced by the previous contractor, but because they made another fatal mistake in having the flashing under the paper instead of on top, it had to be replaced once again. As we zoom in to the bumped out gable roof area, please take note of the improperly installed kick-out flashing and the sealant joint that prevented the stucco from properly draining out onto the roof. Now, as we pan down and look at the sheathing under the improperly installed kick-out flashing, you can see where we were obtaining 40% moisture readings in the sheathing, and the damage is clearly visible. On the rear elevation, we obtained moisture readings that were high enough to support microbial growth and wood rot. The elevated moisture was a result of the building paper being placed on top of the nailing flange, so they've done a good job of making sure all the water gets behind the paper and causes damage. Working on a section of the rear elevation, you can see that the stucco is being removed below the windows, and you can see one of our technicians collecting moisture readings, which in this case were elevated. Another mistake we discovered was the addition of a vapor barrier. You can see condensation that was forming behind the plastic on the building paper. Nowhere in the stucco cladding system should a vapor barrier be used except in very cold climates. These are just some of the examples of the damage and the mistakes that we found during our investigation of this home. Unfortunately for consumers, we continue to come across situations like this all too often. Poor attention to detail and a lack of understanding of the basic principles involved in water management are two of the major problems that we see. Advanced Stucco Inspection has the knowledge and the expertise necessary to fix the problem right the first time. Please call us at 1-800-965-0889 to get started.